Wait a minute. Right, here we go.
Awesome. Hi there, everybody. Welcome to the Thrive Guide today. It's great to have you all here. I'm Hazel and I am taking over as interviewer this week with Melissa here from the Thrive Guide. So yeah, I'm Hazel and I'm from Young Living. I do wellness products and support people to create a low-tox living environment. So Melissa and I share a lot of synergies around low-tox living, but Melissa's focus is on low-tox food. So welcome to your page, Melissa.
Thank you. Thanks for having me. As mentioned, Sorry, what was that?
I just said it feels a bit weird that I've taken over your page, but it's absolutely wonderful to have you here.
No, that you can share on yours. Just mention my name is Melissa Lowe and I'm a nutrition and health coach and owner of the Thrive Guide. And I guess for me, I know you sort of touched on the food side as well, but I mainly help people who are dealing with it could be weight gain or not feeling happy in their body, or there could be digestive or gut health issues, a lot of the time hormonal issues and low energy and sleep and stress going on. So quite a holistic sort of view, and definitely food and exercise are one aspect, but it's kind of looking at what's going on in your life and in your system kind of thing. And low tox living is definitely something I come akin to around food as well. And we heard from you, Hazel, about all the products and everything as well that can have all these toxins. I've definitely, since you did your talk, been like reading my ingredients list like so much more on my cleaning products and the products I'm using on my skin, and it's quite incredible what's in there.
It's pretty amazing, isn't it? We sort of innocently use these things and then once you know something, you kind of can't unknow it, and you can't not turn things over and read the ingredients labels. So I'm glad I helped educate you a little bit yesterday. Last week, sorry. So just like last week, we're recording this interview, so so those that can't make it live, we'll get the video recording afterwards. So just so that we keep a flow to the interview and keep a little bit on time, if you've got any questions, please put them in the chat, and we will just review if there's any questions at the end of the interview and go back and answer those. I would love to hear a bit more about your journey, Melissa. What got you to the place where you are now, having this holistic approach to helping people find a better life?
Yeah, sure. Before I go into that, I just want to mention my wall. We're in the middle of renovating, and so there's been a wallpaper strip off, so that's why that wall looks like that. And I'd normally be doing this in my kitchen, but I have 3 children in there, so thought I'd come and hide in my bedroom. Yep. Anyway, so yes, my journey, which some of you may have heard before, like we definitely didn't used to eat healthy or probably live a very balanced lifestyle. And it's easy to think sometimes when you hear people talking that are in the health and wellness modalities that they've always been that way or always been raised that way, and it definitely was not the case for us. So we were, it was very much about white bread was a big factor in our lives. My husband would have a pie for breakfast every morning on the way to work from the gas station. Pasta was a huge thing, 2-minute noodles featured quite often, once or twice a week. My kids had kind of those Uncle Toby's muesli bars and little packets of chips in their lunchbox every day. And we'd always finish the evening with toffee pops, me and my hubby lying on the couch and arguing that we'd just have 1 or 2, and next minute the whole packet's gone. And I used to have 3 coffees a day with 2 sugars in them each. And so we were not eating healthy at all. And slowly over time, these health issues started increasing. So with me, it was definitely hormonal. I had really quite severe PMS from sort of my young teens through to my late 30s, where I really suffered, both mood-wise, but also just what was going on with my body as well. And at the same time, I was just really tired a lot of the time. I sort of had digestive issues going on where I'd just get like a bloated belly at the end of the evening, and I wouldn't understand why. And yeah, skin issues as well, a lot of skin breakouts, which was awful, even as an adult. And at the same time, my husband had stuff going on as well. He loves me sharing this. He got severely constipated.
Yep.
Like going once every 2 weeks, number twos,
Oh, wow.
which, yeah, he was one toxic boy. He had reflux. He had to take a Lowe every day. Yeah, lots of aches and pains. Yeah, again, just both feeling really tired and putting on weight. And we'd gone to the doctors, tried all sorts of things. I'd tried so many supplements, so many suggestions to try and get on top of my hormonal issues, and nothing worked. And eventually we went and saw a health coach, and she just said, oh my goodness, you guys are poisoning yourself with what you're eating. You need to clean up your diet. And we did quite an intense gut healing diet, which was quite full on. But it was amazing. Like, it totally transformed us into how we were meant to feel, you know. It was like we just woke up and had no idea we could feel this way, because so much of the time I think you just blame age or lifestyle or whatever.
Totally.
So that helped both of us a lot. But also with myself, I made a lot of lifestyle changes, just kind of looking at the stress and the expectations and things that I'd put on myself. And just through that and changing food and everything, we just managed to just, like, my PMS disappeared. My husband's bowels started working. You know, we had all this energy, our skin cleared up. He's never taken another Lowe again. I mean, just so many things just righted themselves, which was fantastic. Yeah. So
that's really amazing. You know, like in terms of, you know, you really, you know, until there's a tipping point at something happens that makes you just go, look, none of the stuff's working. That, you know, you obviously got to that point where you're just like, enough's enough and this stuff's not working. That made you turn to a health coach. And the fact that you were both feeling so rubbish, not, you know, obviously you and, you know, your husband had to put up with your PMS along with the kids and everything. You know, all of that stuff. But that he was in a bad space too, to collectively go on together. And then you sort of have, it's like, right, okay, we're doing this as a family, we're doing this together. Because it must have been really hard, like that first real gut cleanse that you did. It must have been tough. You must have been.
It was.
were you just like totally overwhelmed in that situation?
Yeah, it was pretty full on to do. Like, we had to undo eating a lot of what we were eating, although I had started investigating, and this is, you know, brings me into talking about the low tox foods, because I had started thinking, what am I really eating? And had started reading my ingredients labels and or my food labels, my ingredients list. Yeah, and so it was quite hard, but kind of that we were doing it together, that helped as well. But we also changed what the children were eating too, like got rid of the cornflakes and the wheat bix and the white bread, and, you know, just did it slowly. So my eldest was quite mortified, but the younger two just kind of went along. I did it really slowly, so it wasn't a big shock for them. But yeah, it was a change, but it was just having that mindset to do it. And I guess when I came out the other side of it and went, wow, I had no clue I could feel like this. I had no idea. And that's what prompted me to think, I want to help other people feel like this, to kind of step over that barrier and feel good. And so that's where I went on and did my studies, and then did further epigenetic studies as well. And
once you get on that other side and know, once you get on that other side and know that there's something better, you just, it's a passion and drive, isn't it? It's just like, oh my God, there's something else beyond the crap and how I was feeling. I've got to share this. You know, I even, you know, now when you're walking down the street or something and you see someone walking towards you and they're fatigued and they look like they're dragging their feet, you're just like, oh, sweetheart, there is something beyond where you are. And you just, you know, I sometimes I have to stop myself and go, no, you can't just walk up and say, I can help. You know? You know, it is hard. So tell us more, like you were saying, you know, you'd started looking into what you were eating. So tell us more about, you know, being mindful about what's in our food. How did you start? What were the big things that you first started chopping out to start making this progressive change?
Yeah, well, I guess it was around the time that sort of paleo had started coming out, so we're getting more popular. So there was sort of this talk about gut health and eating whole foods and all that kind of thing that was coming out into the public, it was starting to be known. And so I started thinking, oh, okay, so what does clean eating mean? And just started investigating. And I guess really just started reading my ingredients lists on my packet of biscuits. Like which packet of biscuits has got, more whole foods in it and which has numbers and additives and things like that. And just started becoming aware. And I think that's what, where a lot of people fall down is that they think they eat healthy or say they eat healthy. I eat fruit and vegetables and protein and that kind of carry on, but they don't sort of realize what's going into a lot of their food, or what's in the mayonnaise they're putting on their salad, or what's in the marinade that's on the meat that they bought, or what's in the pasta sauce sort of thing. And so it's kind of just getting a bit of that awareness, and that's where I really started. And like anything, once you start and you keep learning and you can't unknow it, and just looking in some of the factors that can happen when we are actually ingesting a lot of additives and preservatives and colorings without knowing it.
Yeah.
That's the big factor.
Yeah, I noticed that actually just with, I used to be, like you make a bolognese and you just throw a dolmio sauce in or something like that. And then when I started learning a little bit more, I turned it over and went, oh, actually, maybe not. And I just use passata, so it's just like, actually just use just pureed tomatoes, just actually start there. So that's, that was just one thing I remember. We used to have use dolmios all the time.
Yeah.
And I'd have
Veggie packets. On our list.
Yeah, absolutely. And there's the whole, MSG stuff and all those sorts of things, which is actually probably leading into, how do you know something's toxic for your body? What ingredients are we looking at here that are real big nasties that we should be staying away from, that just get into so many of those foods that are almost a bit innocent, that we use all the time in our cooking. Can you sort of talk about things like that then maybe?
Yeah, sure. I mean, I'll go over a bit about some reactions you can get to some of these products. So, and then talk a bit about sort of maybe a top 10 to be looking out for. I mean, there's definitely the extreme reactions where we have, like low energy, or heart issues, or various other diseases that can come from inflammation from all these kind of chemical lab created products. But I just actually did a bit of a list, which I'll just read through, because as I started typing it out, I was like, okay, I'm not going to remember all this. It's quite intense. So definitely like digestive. So like getting diarrhea or constipation can be an offset of eating a lot of these chemicals. Getting cramps and stomach aches and bloating, which I definitely was getting a lot. Yeah. I mean, for me, that ended up being gluten, and for my skin, it was dairy, but it was the kind of gluten and the kind of dairy that I was eating. Good old gas. Sneezing, watery eyes, asthma and sinus issues can be a reaction. Coughing can be another one as well. There's good old itchy skin and rashes. Vomiting for some people, that can be quite an extreme reaction, or just a nausea can happen. Tiredness. You can also get insomnia, so getting some sleep issues. There's headaches. Definitely can get into that mood swings, irritability, and you'll notice this in children if they have that sugar peak and then the crash from all the colours and everything when they've eaten lollies and so forth. Inflammation, aches and pains in your joints and muscles. It can definitely lower your immunity, when dealing with our gut health. So, and that's where, our immune system is based on. And I mean, there's a whole host of things that can happen to people. And so it's a really good idea just to sort of be thinking, I'm starting to, every time I have this, I get a runny nose, or I start coughing or whatever, and just start marrying things up and trying to figure out, is it particularly what was in that food, or just trying to get a bit of an idea.
That's a really
But
great
yeah,
idea. You know, my husband did that actually, like years and years and years ago, before we had children. He, you know, we'd eat stir fries, you know, most nights. You know, we'd just have quick, you know, so easy and quick to do. But he would have really, like, he'd just be on the toilet every morning, just lose his guts. You know, like, and it was just like, vegetables and meat, what are we eating? So it was like an elimination diet, you know, like, so he was just like, okay, well, maybe it's bread. And so he just eliminated bread for 2 weeks, and no, it still happened, you know. And so you can do that to kind of work out what's creating the issue. You're frozen on the screen, Melissa. Are you still there? Are you still there, Melissa? I wonder if you're going to pop back. I wonder whose end's gone. Oh, looks like oh, are you there, Melissa? Oh, she's dropped out. Well, hopefully she'll come back soon. So it's really interesting, isn't it, how food can really affect us and cause all these different issues like that that Melissa's been talking about. You know, some of these things, you go, you've got itchy skin, and so often you can go to the doctor and they'll give you something topical to use in that situation, but not really investigating where that itchy skin is coming from. It's like, well, I've just got this irritation. And quite often in the past, maybe doctors are getting a little bit better now to say, well, maybe look at what you're eating. Maybe you need to start, you know, are you eating a lot of bread? Maybe this is a reaction to something that you're eating. Here she comes. Are you back? Oh, just unmute yourself, Melissa. Oh, there you go.
Yeah, you froze and then I fell off.
Yeah, well, you froze as I was talking. That's okay. I just started talking about, you know, how we go to the doctor.
I'm winging it.
You might go to the doctor with one of these reactions to food that you were talking about, like itchy skin, and they might just give you a topical treatment and not actually say to you, well, what are you eating that is causing that, you know? And so it's having that more holistic approach to considering what your body's trying to tell you. And finding a way to work through that. So when you dropped out, I was just saying, you know, my husband ended up doing an elimination diet many years ago because he had bowel issues after eating stir fries every night. It ended up being it's capsicum that he reacts to. But it took us a long time to get there because he was going, oh, maybe it's dairy, or maybe it's bread, or maybe it's this, you know.
Yeah.
But it actually was capsicum for him. But anyway, so so where you're up to, you're sort of talking about all of these reactions to things. So,
yes, the reactions. And so just to touch briefly on something, you know, around that, if you think you're having a reaction, you can kind of do it several ways as you start taking foods out to see if they're you're reacting to them. But really you want to be taking them out, I'd say a minimum of 2 weeks, but really around 4 weeks, just so your body has a chance to really detox from them. And then quite often, if you find that you are reacting to something and you take it out, sometimes, unless it's a complete allergy, but sometimes you can start having it again and, you know, like in a minimal form or just in a better quality form. Or the other way is, you know, you do a gut healing diet, which is what we did, which is, you know, we just kind of started with the basics and then started adding things in. So then you start to see, when I have that, I have a bit of a reaction kind of thing. And so that can be a bit of a factor.
Because our gut, bowel, whole digestive system actually can hold on to things for a long time. Well, obviously 2 weeks.
Absolutely.
Situation. So, you know, like, you know, to actually remove something completely from your body, you know, 2 weeks of it not coming in the top, you could still have residual in your digestive system that still needs to be expelled and excreted. So depending on how sluggish your body is, it could take you a month to get rid of it all out of your body. Hey.
Yeah. I mean, there's a whole realm of areas you can go into there, whether you have leaky gut or, you know, and a whole lot of healing that may need to go on. But I just wanted to keep today sort of more about those kind of chemicals, you know, because you can definitely be having reactions as well, like I was, to dairy, you know, or to gluten. So, you know, it can be a bigger picture as well. But definitely cleaning up what you're eating can absolutely help. I mean, yeah, it can turn things around. So
Yeah.
I just wanted to kind of go over briefly. I mean, oh my God, the list of things to avoid.
Yeah.
It could go on forever,
Yeah.
just like with you.
Even
your
give us
products.
5 or 10 things that we should
Yeah, I've
definitely
got
avoid in
10.
ingredients. 10. Okay, 10.
Yeah,
All right.
I've
I
got
might write
10.
these
Okay,
down.
so, oh, okay, yeah. I'll do a PDF thing as well.
Oh, yeah, cool. All
Yeah,
right, I'll do that.
but one of the top things I would be really looking at that's either in products or if you're using yourself is when it comes to oils and like your seed and vegetable oils.
Yeah.
It's a good old rice bran, sunflower oil, canola oil, vegetable oils. Yeah, a whole host of other ones like that. These oils are really, really not good for your body. They're quite often high heated, then they go rancid, then they put kind of smells, you know, fragrances into it to mask it or colorings or whatever, and these can cause a huge amount of inflammation in your body. So unless it says maybe organic sunflower oil, I would be really, really mindful of those kind of oils and foods you're eating, and even with what you're cooking with, and you know, to switch it over, like it's going back to nature, you know, like going back to what our grandparents used kind of thing. So like good, I mean, butter can be an option, but you know, coconut oil or lard, you know, as long as it's come from a healthy raised animal. Avocado oil, those kind of things are quite good, but they're a lot more natural and kinder to our body.
So do this, like, is my understanding correct, like that the sunflower and canola oils and those sorts of things, it's actually the farming practices are actually how they farm that stuff, and the chemicals and pesticides that they use on those crops that then end up in the oil that can then make it so nasty for our body?
Yeah, and the processing of it as well. So it's just a combination of just avoid.
Avoid at all costs.
As much as possible.
I don't have any of that.
I mean, it's hard if you're going to have, it's hard if you decide you want to have fish and chips, you know, now and again. I mean, unless you kind of find there are some quite healthy-ish takeaway shops around, but they're pretty hard to find. I mean, when I'm talking about all this, I'm not coming from it like everyone has to be perfect all the time. I mean, I'm not perfect all the time, but it's kind of looking at how much of the not great stuff you're eating compared to the great stuff. And, you know, we just started off after we did the gut healing kind of with the 80-20 rule, as in like 80% of the time we're going to eat good for us and 20% of the time we're going to chill about it. But we just made sure the 20% wasn't kind of over the top, really, you know? Like a deep fried Mars bar or something. I've not had one, but
okay,
so again,
ingredients.
So high fructose corn syrup is a big one. That's a shocker. Or you might say it as HFCS. There's actually so many names for sugars and products. It's crazy. So if you're curious about that, definitely just Google what are names for sugars on products, and they'll come up a big fat list. You've got good old sugar as well, and artificial sweeteners, you know, they're sort of things that I would be really trying to keep away from as well. But good old high fructose corn syrup is a shocker, and your caramel as well is another one. And then that brings me into colors. Like, they're a major, you know, they can definitely cause a huge amount of havoc in our body, and it's amazing what they show up in. Like I was going to buy some frozen, I think was it prawns or shrimps? I could only find one packet that didn't have a color in them.
Oh wow, like what? Why would there be a color in them? That just just to make them look pinker or something. So you've got to really start investigating, like being sort of like an ingredient detective. Just start reading things. So can you tell me, so I know we talked about fragrance last week, and I said, you know, like it's almost like a catch-all. Are the colors, are they just specific? Is like a color, you know, because they can just write colors, can't they? Like, or can they? They can,
and or they can. Sometimes they'll do a number. Like normally like the yellows and reds are kind of the one that are quite full on, the caramels and stuff. So I just am always like, if it says color or anything, I'm a bit like, oh no. There's sodium nitrate, nitrates and nitrates. Nitrates and nitrates are another one, and they can definitely be a cancer causing thing that can go on, and also diabetes. We've got good old MSG, and you also see that being called as a flavor enhancer as well, or flavor or natural flavor. And natural flavor is normally like they've taken something natural and then they've got it in the lab and modified it. So
so natural
part of it's gone,
like fragrance, like it's away. So tell me, and what about when a packet says no artificial colors or additives, like lots of
we will get into that, and I will show you.
That's fine,
because
I just was like, I need to ask
another side as well. So just to go through my list. There's things like BHA and BHT, which have really long names. So I'm not even going to try and say, but they're quite often in cereals and chips, even in chewing gum. They can be a major issue as well. Then you've just got your classic additives and preservatives, I mean, some of them they may say, which I'll talk about soon, but it's okay for human consumption. But you've kind of got to be thinking, well, is it? I mean, and how many have I had today? And how much? That you are having. And then there's emulsifiers and stabilizers as well. That are sort of things you just want to be mindful of. And I guess they've
been put in just to keep things on the shelf longer, aren't they?
Yeah, absolutely. And so that's, that's a factor with a lot of these things. It's just shelf life. If you bake a tray of biscuits, well, there's only a certain amount of time where they're going to start going soggy or not be so great to eat. The packet of biscuits on the supermarket shelf, I mean, they can be there for months and they're absolutely fine. Nothing's wrong with them. And that's because they're full of a lot of this chemical, ingredients. So it's really starting to look at how much you're having over a day and to start investigating how many of these chemicals you're putting in your body without realizing it. And that's where I want to come from, is just to create a sense of awareness of people learning what they're actually eating or what they're feeding their children, and like, I know a talk I did once about healthy lunch boxes, and I said, look, would you say to your child, here's a teaspoon of maltodextrin, open your mouth and eat it? And I said, does anyone know what maltodextrin is? And they were all like, no. And I'm like, but you're feeding it to your child pretty much every day in so many foods that you don't even, we don't realize, so it's good to kind of look at the ingredients, sort of like that. And again,
give us some examples of something that we might look like that comes across as healthy, that has actually got some pretty nasties hidden inside. Is that sort of where we're kind of up to?
I can do that. Wait one moment, caller, hang on. I just have to do a screen share.
Nice.
See if I can get you. Has that shared that?
Not yet.
No, not yet. Hang on a minute. Oh, there we go. Because I have to click the word share. And if I do... Right, can you see that?
Perfect, yep.
Okay, so just to give an example of some foods that you may be eating and not realizing what you're having. Okay, so this is a packet of sour cream and chive rice crackers, okay? And this is what you touched on before, Hazel. So on the front, now before we get into this, I just want to say, what they are telling you on the front of any product, whether it's a can, a box, in the freezer, in the fridge, whatever, is the truth. They're telling you the truth, but they're not telling you the whole truth. So the whole truth, you have to turn over and look at your ingredients list. So on the front of this packet of rice crackers, it says oven baked with a deliciously light and crispy texture. No artificial colors and flavors, okay? So they're saying what's going on with it. But when we turn the packet over, we've got sugar, sunflower oil, anti-caking agent 551, acidity regulator 330, color 160C, antioxidant 307. I just have to move my screen.
Why do we need a foaming agent?
Well, you do apparently. Foaming agent 170 and natural flavor, again, which is where they've got something natural from a food in nature and then mucked around with it. So when you're eating those rice crackers, that's what you're getting. Okay.
Yeah.
So it's scary, isn't it? Like,
Yeah, it is. It's,
most
it's
people,
really scary. Yeah.
most people would not turn the packet over and read it and realize, I'm kind of eating these things I didn't realize. I mean, some of those things might be okay for human consumption, but
Yeah.
again, it's not a real food. You know,
Yeah.
they're chemicals.
Yeah.
Oh, garden spinach wraps. I love these because I remember I used to buy them. It's like, oh, spinach, this is good. What a joke. So on the front it says yeast and dairy free. I'm glad I spelled dairy right. Quite often
Yeah.
diary. New Zealand made.
Oh, that makes it all better because it's New Zealand.
Oh yeah.
Made. Yeah.
Absolutely. And you know, it's got spinach in it. It's obviously healthy, right? Yeah, let's have a look. So vegetable oil, which is something we want to be aware of, antioxidant 307, emulsifier 471, raising agents, those, whatever the heck they are.
Whatever the heck they are.
Preservatives 2H2, 200. Dextrose, acidity regulator 297, stabilizers 466 and 416. Colors, 4 colors there, and one of them is a green color, by the way, to make the wraps look green. And the spinach, because I've looked into these before, it's usually like 1 to 2% of spinach. Like, pathetic.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
That is crazy.
Another thing where you would read the front and go, oh, this is good for me, I'm going to have it and put my salad in and everything, yet you're getting all that other crap. Hummus. I feel quite bad telling people this stuff sometimes because they're just like,
no, look,
crap.
this is great. Great. What I am going to ask for later, which you might have already prepared, so what's the alternative to rice crackers when your kids love rice crackers? Is there a good alternative?
Yes, there is.
Okay. Good.
Are you asking me now? Do you want to wait till later?
No, you can tell me later.
Okay. Hummus, again, the good taste, you know, that's that cooking chef guys, all about the good taste as the ads on TV.
Yep.
Because it's real good ingredients and it just tastes better. It's got canola oil, food acid 300, stabilizer 412, preservative 202. So again, you think you're just getting chickpeas and olive oil and tahini. No, you're getting all this other stuff.
All that other stuff as well, yeah.
And I just thought I'd just do one on muesli bars because I used to do this. My kids always had a packet of muesli, you know, a muesli bar. You know, I would buy boxes of 12 or 2 packs of 6, so that would sort of last the week and the weekend. You know,
Yep.
a muesli bar. So on the front it says it's whole grain oats, source of fiber, and no artificial colours. But again, sugar, so color 150C, I don't even know what that is. Emulsifier, sulfites, polydextrose, and humectants 420 and 422.
What's a humectant?
I think that is a firming agent.
Firming agent, maybe?
Or is it something that stops them getting moist? That might be the humectant.
Could be.
I'm still going though.
Humidity.
Gelling agent.
Oh my gosh.
Natural flavor, sunflower oil. So again, a whole lot. And then
crazy.
Just to touch again on Healtheries, that name drives me a little bit nutso because a lot of their products are really not healthy. So on the front, it says it's tasty, crunchy potato and rice snacks with 50% less fat, free from dairy with no added MSG. But maltodextrin, sugar, anti-caking agent 551, acidity regulators, 2 numbers there, and good old natural flavor again. So I'll just stop the share. Yeah, so you can see that. Oh, hang on a minute.
It's as bad as products. You know, it's bad as products. You know, they say one thing on the front, they're just telling you the half truth. You know, it's like So it is about what you are ingesting over the day, and a really good place to start is maybe just having awareness, like being a detective, and maybe getting like 3 to 5 products a week out of either your fridge, your pantry, or freezer, and just turn them over and have a look and just start to discover what you're actually ingesting. And you know, to be asking yourself these questions like, do I know what this ingredient is? You know, is it from nature?
Will it harm my body? Will it nourish my body? You know, will it help my children grow stronger? Or will it start causing issues for them? You know, because the majority of adult diseases actually started forming in childhood when all our organs are still growing and everything. So, you know, really something to be mindful of there. And, you know, yes, so when you were saying getting into other products, so once you start being aware of what you are actually eating, it's also trying to find the other options. Okay, so there's various ways you can go down here. I mean, I try to go for foods that is close to nature as possible, and most of the time without those flavors added in. So, you know, rice crackers, I go Cerise Organics is a good option. Turkish, you can make your own hummus, but Turkish Kitchen is the only hummus I've found that's got, I think it's got one additive in it.
Okay.
The rest have got a lot more, so that's kind of a good option. Wraps, if you're going for ones that have gluten in them, I think it's called Turkish, and it's bright pink. The packet's pink, and it's normally in the chiller area. So their wraps are actually not full of crap, and their pizza bases and everything are fine. I've yet to find a gluten-free wrap. My daughter can't eat gluten. That's any good, so I quite often just make it myself.
In Brisbane, when we lived in Australia, there was one called Mountain Wraps or something, and I've seen them occasionally here, and they tore a little bit more, but they had
they're still gluten.
Yeah, some of them, they did have a gluten-free one, I think.
Oh, okay.
But again, you know, I wasn't reading all the other ingredients in them, but they certainly came across as a lot healthier in terms of how they were made and those sorts of things than the others. But my kids like wraps are, you know, like, gosh, they're hard.
Easy peasy. I mean, worst case, you can do, you know, use a lettuce leaf, like an iceberg lettuce leaf, and, you know, load those up. Because, when we do have wraps, I don't, even if I make kind of like the paleo version, I sort of just do the, wrapped in the lettuce leaf, or just eat it with a salad kind of thing that the kids like, the folding up kind of thing. And even with chips and things, like, you want to be reading, I know I did those potato sticks, but, you know, there's even like the Proper brand is a really good kind of chip. I'm not saying chips are the healthiest thing in the world, but, you know, now and again, or is it Southern? Oh, it's gone out of my head. What kind? The other kind.
The bonus with those Proper crisps is that the packets are also compostable. So
That's
so
great.
that ticks a box for me.
And quite often going for things that aren't flavored can be really helpful, unless they're on the healthier side. Then normally, you know, it's spices and herbs and that kind of thing. So great ways to start investigating as well what you're going to replace things with for a healthier option. You can get on the online website for the supermarkets. Okay, so Countdown. I haven't been on New World and Pick and Save, but I know Countdown, you can type in a product, and a lot of the time they have the ingredients there. So you can start having a look, which is great. The other thing is you do it in the supermarket. You know, when you're going to choose your can of tomatoes, you start being that person reading. If it's too small, take a photo and blow it up so you can read it. I have to do that.
I'm getting a bit old too. I need to do that sometimes.
There's also some really great apps. There's one called eCodes or Chemical Maze. There's a few out there where you can type in the numbers or certain ingredients. So you want to be looking for things like, do I know what this is? Do I know what that means? No, I don't. Well, I need to investigate it then, because it's not what I'd consider real food if I don't really know what the name is. So that's where you want to either use the apps or get on Google and start kind of having a look at what it is that's in your food. Another thing as well is on my website, the Thrive Guide. I've got a page called, which I'll do a link once we send out the replay, called What's Really in Your Food. And I've gone through, and I've just picked a bunch of products, and in each article just talks about what's in them and then provides you with some healthier alternatives.
Perfect.
If I can find them. Even things like popcorn, you know, the popcorn in those bags. I mean, avoid.
Yeah.
So things like that, so you can start investigating. And then normally once a week on my Facebook page, I do an ingredient, or also on Instagram, ingredient awareness. So I'll just say, hey, do you realize, like this week I'm doing one on, I think it's like crumbed chicken, or, you can get meat with the crumbs in it. I mean, it's scary what is in there. So I'm just like, do you realize if you get this, this is what you're eating. Hey, an alternative is blah, 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 make your own, or go for other products kind of thing.
Yeah,
so,
no, those are really handy. I had a little investigate once we'd been chatting and things, I'd investigated those, and they're really, really handy, just in terms of, that's an alternate option. I have a tendency not to buy, frozen breaded chickens or, any of that kind of stuff. It's like, well, actually you can just do it yourself with, a bit of egg and some, crumbed, you use breadcrumbs if that's what you want to use, or you can use other alternatives if you're not doing bread or gluten and things like that. Like I've done a few things, like, like trying to remove all those additives and stuff. I don't want to take the biscuits and all of that sort of stuff away from my kids. And that's what I find a big challenge is, the kids want a chocolate milk, or they want lollies and those sorts of things. And I feel like the nastiest mum in the world always saying no. So I guess what you said earlier, take that 80-20 rule and make the sort of healthier choice of the bad things. So that
Absolutely.
but geez, it's tough, when, they're more readily curious to try something that's bright purple than they will eat a lettuce leaf, and it's like they wouldn't eat a bright purple carrot, but they'll eat, like a bright purple chip or lolly, and it just does my head in, and you try
it does get hard. And they're also aware, like I know my kids, they're like, we've got the healthiest lunchbox in my class. Like, like it's a pain. I'm like, well, aren't you lucky? You've got one body and I'm helping you look after it. But they do start comparing and looking. But I think because I've sort of talked to them a lot about, that they need to look after their body, and they'll be able to run faster or think better at school or whatever, and the benefits from it has kind of helped them. And they will sort of come home and sort of say, someone's always got a packet of rations or burger rings in their lunchbox, and that's not really good for them. And so they do sort of have this awareness, and it is really cool with kids just to sort of say to them, hey, we've got 2 packets of this, which do you think's the best, and get them reading the ingredients list as well. And I mean, there is healthy options, like a Cerise Organics does a really nice cacao hot chocolate drink. I mean, or you can make stuff yourself as well. Lollies wise, I don't really give my kids lollies, but I've moved them into dark chocolate. So I'd probably love milk chocolate any day, but they're quite happy having like a 70%, dark chocolate or cacao nibs and things like that. They quite like. So, I mean, and then, like I said, the 80-20, when they go to Nana's or or their grandma's, everything falls over, and I'm like, I don't want to impose my stuff on them, even though
that's where that's sort of where I sit too. You kind of you've got to, like, I can't ask them to change their ways. I don't feel like I can. But it can become quite tough. I actually, part of my whole sustainability thing, I hated the fact that when we were buying biscuits for the kids to have in their school lunch, so that they had something sweet in their lunch, it's like, it's all the wrappers and everything as well that used to do my head in. And so it was actually initially that, along with all the additives and preservatives that were in those biscuits, that I actually just said to my mum, I said, look, I'm too time poor. Can I get you to just make school baking on a weekend for me? So I just give mum money for ingredients, and she makes some biscuits for the kids. And it's a nice way for her to interact with the kids, and it's allowing her to give them sweet stuff, but not overloading them. I'm not giving it to them as well. So that's kind of that's one way that I'm trying to make myself feel a little bit better, that they're also eating the biscuits that they do have been made from scratch, so they don't have the additives and preservatives in them.
Exactly.
And I do suggest to mum to halve the sugar amount in them and those sorts of things. So you can do little things like that too. But I must admit, like I fall down, in terms of I just want to get in and out of that supermarket without having to, you know, spend hours in there going, oh, which one's better, which one's this, which one's that. So I've actually enjoyed flicking through your website and just clicking on the things where I go, oh yeah, I use those things, and having a look and seeing what your, you know, preferred or better alternative is, instead of say Dom or whatever, you know, what is the better alternative? And then just sort of filing that information in my mind so that, you know, like the Cerise Organics now, I'm like, sweet, well, I'll look at those products when, like, next time I'm through the supermarket, and I'll look to get those crackers instead of rice crackers for my kids. Because often we're in a hurry, you know, or I'm picking them up from school and we've got, you know, we're driving straight to a sports practice or something, and you need to be able to have something that they can eat in the car. And often I've been busy all day, so I haven't had time to make carrot sticks or make some hummus to go with carrot sticks or any of those sorts of things. So sometimes you just do need that convenience option. And I mean, you can still go for that, you know, sometimes at the supermarket it is like getting your little bag of carrot sticks and maybe some nuts and a bit of dark chocolate and some fruit and, you know, stuff like that. And then, you know, they can quite often be quite happy with that kind of thing. But yeah, also getting into your bulk cooking, I think helps a lot. You know, like if I bake, I'm like making like 3 to 5 other containers of dry ingredients so they're ready to go for next time kind of thing. And but yeah, I mean, time and I mean, that's how we all ended up eating like this, because time became an issue. The men went off to war, the women then had to work, Watties came along, you know, hey, we've got this canvas and that. And it just started more and more happening, that it became just kind of the norm. But unfortunately it's come to the point where it is undoing people's health and causing a lot of issues. But I mean, it just, like, you know, you were saying last week, don't have to change everything at once. Just start having awareness, and it might be like, hey, I'll switch to these crackers which have got 3 less numbers on them than the other packet, you know, and then going to upgrade from there kind of thing. So and going, okay, well, I've got sunflower oil and it's nearly done, just biff it and replace it with olive oil or avocado oil or coconut or something like that. That's, make Play-Doh with it. Yeah, well, you can make Play-Doh with it. Just get rid of it however you can. Just don't ingest it. So, you know, and just make those really simple changes. And just, I actually try and keep we don't have a lot of, canned goods or, you know, dry goods or anything in our, you know, we do kind of do that whole weekly shop, because most of our food is perishable now. So I, you know, like with the panic buying that people are doing, I'm like, what are you panic buying? Because all the stuff I eat perishes, so I kind of can't. But yeah, so you know, like I've made part of a change with regard to the food, but I've certainly learned some good things. You know, like I did, you know, I had bought rice crackers for the kids this week, and they were like, oh, rice crackers, and they were right into them. And I'm now going, oh, geez, could have bought the Cerise Organic one. So even if it's not, because they are a bit more expensive, Cerise Organics, even if it's just a plain kind. And then if you're having things like crackers and that, it's really good to have them with a good quality food that's got some nutrients in it, you know, so that they are still getting something out of it. But like I said, you know, it's just about learning and awareness and making small changes, and it doesn't have to be overwhelming and perfect and everything straight away. It's just kind of taking small steps at a time. That's really cool. That's really cool. So should we end with some final questions to learn a bit about you, Melissa, seeing as we did that last week and learned a bit about me? Let's do a few quick fire questions at the end, and then we can tie this up so that people can get on with their day, those that have joined us live here today. So thanks very much for all those that have joined us. So what's your favorite book? Oh God, I should have pre-thought this. Actually, it's a book. I've read it. I just read it again the other day. It was so good. It's called Lipstick, Lipstick. Yeah. I've completely forgotten who it's by, but it's so funny. She's like a comedian just talking about her life, and it is hilarious. Lipstick. I'll have to look that one out. That sounds brilliant. That sounds brilliant. That's brilliant. Yeah. If you had to pick one, wine or coffee? Oh, cripes. Oh, I think I'd go coffee, because if I can't have wine, I could maybe have like a gin and tonic or something. Yeah.
They really drink gin, actually.
Yeah. What's on your bedside table?
Oh, I can look. There's a lamp and there's a notepad, which I write down stuff before I go to bed because I think, oh, I've got to remember blah, blah, blah. And then I write it out so I don't wake up in the night thinking about it.
I'm a bit like you. If I can get things written down, then I can go to bed and not wake up. Otherwise, I do. I do wake up as well. Yeah. What's our next week? Are you a cat or a dog family?
Cat.
Yeah. Just one? Or are you like a cat lady and need multiples?
No, two's enough. But the kids would like a dog, but I'm like, I can't deal with picking up anyone else's crap. So
yeah, fair play. Yeah, that is a big downer about a dog. Absolutely. So if we were allowed to travel anywhere in the world, which could be a dream for many of us for many, many years, where would we find you?
Oh God. Probably like Turkey. I really like Turkey.
I don't know why, but I could totally see you cruising around Turkey.
Yeah.
I could just see you in the souks, moving through, seeing all the herbs and spices. Totally see you there. What's your favourite meal?
Oh, like a dinner?
Up to you. Favourite meal? Is it like, is it, it could be favourite meal of the day, or it could be just favourite meal if you were going to be cooking it at home, or favourite meal if you go out, whatever works for you.
Something I really love, and it's like a salad, and it's like beetroot, like roasted beetroot, and then it's feta and almonds and coriander, and then there's like a lemony kind of, lemon and olive oil, mixed through, and that makes me very happy.
Yeah. I like making a salad similar but different, but it's the roasted beetroot, the feta rocket. I really love those flavors. And pine nuts. Pine nuts as well. They're pretty good in there, but it's a very healthy favorite meal. Definitely. Very healthy.
It is up there. If I was going to have an unhealthy, it'd probably be pizza. If pizza's there, I really have to talk myself through of like not eating just the whole thing to myself.
I'm with you there. I'm a very much a pizza fan too. Yeah. So I know you live in Auckland, but are you a city girl or a country girl?
I'd be country. Yeah, I'm in the country. Yeah. In Auckland. It's like north rural. Kind of. Yeah. water tank, and we have electricity, which is good.
That's good. Just no wallpaper just now.
No wallpaper.
No wallpaper. So are you an ocean or snow girl?
Ocean.
Yep. Not a big fan of the cold.
Oh yeah. I mean I would go to the snow, but I'm definitely will like the beach.
The ocean. Yep.
For sure.
Yep. And we had a good laugh about this one last week, but leggings or track pants?
Oh, trackies, man, all the way.
Good Kiwi girl from the country.
Trackies. I love my trackies. Yeah, and if they're all right looking, I think you can go out in them. I mean, I wouldn't go out to a bar in my trackie pants. If you pop to the supermarket or something, with your little Vans on or something, and a nice sweatshirt.
Just not paired with Ugg boots, hey.
Not out of the house, maybe.
No, not out of the house. And finally, where will we find you if you have an afternoon to yourself? Where will we find you?
Oh God, that would be lovely. I'd probably have a nap.
Yep.
I just think afternoon naps. Yeah, and I just think an afternoon nap just feels so luxurious. Like it's almost like a naughty thing to do, like to kind of go, I'm just going to go have an afternoon nap. I think I'd lie in bed, maybe read a book and then just nod off.
Yeah, very indulgent and very enticing. It would be very nice to do that. Absolutely.
Yeah.
All right, well, that kind of wraps us up. So thank you so much for sharing all that you have today, Melissa. I've just had a quick look in the chat and there's no questions been asked, so that's all cool. But look, I've learned heaps. Really, it's just actually already made it just a bit of clarity on how I can move through the supermarket with a little bit more understanding of what I'm lifting off the shelf and putting in the shopping trolley without it being this big, massive overwhelm. And like you say, just take it really slow. Just switch one thing out at a time. Have a look on your website, invest. You know, if you're going, oh my God, what am I going to give my kids instead of cornflakes for breakfast? Just, you know, you guys, you've got some top tips on your website, which are really, really handy to just help move and navigate your way through those sorts of spaces. And then, of course, you know, if people want more specific help, they can always get in touch with you directly, and you can work one-on-one with people to help them navigate the space that works with their family. So that's really, really awesome. So thanks so much. It's been really cool to see how we can low tox our homes and up health ourselves, both in our homes through, you know, switching out for low tox products like I help people do and empower with knowledge, and then also clean up and low tox our bodies by changing what we're eating and not having a big overwhelm here, and having to go all crazy and like turn into rabbits, but you know, like still being realistic and enjoying our food, but just being more conscious about what we're having so that we're not filling our bodies with toxins, and can help, you know, help our hormones and all of those sorts of things work a bit better for us. So thanks so much for sharing your knowledge. I know that people in my network are going to be really pleased to hear all this information. So, and hopefully it will help them, you know, just as part of their low tox journey. So yeah, thanks so much, Melissa.
You're welcome.
Thanks everyone for joining us, and thanks for the little messages in the chat there saying that you've enjoyed being with us. And yeah, we'll send it all out to people over the next couple of days. We'll get these videos out to people that missed it live. So thanks so much, Melissa, and we'll see you guys again soon.
Thank you. Bye.